Hey guys, Sean with Custom Offsets. We had a ton of interest when we showed you some of our bedliner vehicles, the Hummer H2 being one of them. So I just wanted to come back. It's been about a year and a half since we got coated, about 15 months since we brought you the first video, and just kind of give you an update and tell you what we think about how it's doing. So some of the things I want to go through, I'm going to try to keep this kind of short, couple minutes for you guys. I'm not going to drag it on. If you want to go back and watch the original video where I kind of go through everything, it's called Bedline All the Things by Custom Offsets, where we go through this. This is a Scorpion liner. I chose one of their 15 or so standard colors so it didn't get obnoxious pricing wise. It was, I think, like $3,500 to coat the entire truck. They had to pull a lot of it apart just like a paint job to make sure they got inside of the seams and around some of these parts that I didn't want to have linered. So I probably took the more expensive route versus if you just taped stuff off and started spraying liner and everything. Overall, the liner itself on the doors, on the main body and everything are holding up absolutely perfectly. Like I said, it's about 18 months. We're up here in Wisconsin, so this thing's seen lots of winters. I have resprayed the frame on this thing with some undercoating about 6 times since we had the liner done because of the amount of rust in the wear and tear and the beating that this truck takes. This is my winter beater, and I pretty much leave it out in the driveway in 2-3 feet of snow. Maybe Jacob will show you some of the pictures I have of it sitting in some snowbanks this winter, but it's holding up very, very, very well. The main body is 100% still intact. One spot that I had a failure probably about 6 months ago after winter ended, these are a chrome cap that they have on the H2. And a little bit of water got behind there and it let that bed liner basically just fall right off of here. The other thing I'm seeing is this grill is also that plastic chrome. So it's that plastic chrome stuff and it's starting to chip and peel across the top of here. I'm expecting that this is just gonna peel off as well. So one thing I'm learning is that the Scorpion liner does not like the chrome plastic, or it doesn't like that we just scuffed it up. It probably needed some sort of adhesion promoter. And I think you run into that anytime you try to put different products on plastic. So for now, that we just shot some Plasti Dip on them, blacked them out so that they'd go away. I'm gonna do the same thing with the grill. If that just peels off in a sheet, I'll go back and just Plasti Dip it. I still love Plasti Dip. I know some of you were upset that I picked on Plasti Dip last time. I still love it for smaller stuff. I'm just not interested in having to remove the Plasti Dip from an entire vehicle, so I'd rather liner it and have it stay on there forever. As far as taking care of it, I tried detailers and a couple different things and I really struck out. This truck is also your typical GM plastic. If you look back here, I've let this one go for a while so I could show this to you guys. So this plastic, what we're finding is our new Back to Black new rubber, which is made for rubber and vinyl, works like a friggin' dream. So what I do is I go through the plastic and I load it on there and I just let it soak in, and then I hit the actual truck itself. Because this is a rubber-based product, it basically works just like a sidewall of a tire. I come through and wipe it all off, or wipe it in evenly, I guess, because you're leaving it on there. Can you see where it is and where it isn't? And it actually brings back that dark, rich color. And on something like the bumper, it really lights it up. So you can see that that whole thing is black now compared to, and if you keep this on there just like a tire dressing, and once that soaks in, it will stay that black and it'll keep it actually looking pretty fresh. So I've learned, which didn't make sense because I had to really think about it, all the detailers wouldn't really do it. They ended up smearing and kind of making it look weird. What I found out is if I go through and do the entire truck with the new rubber, it pretty much brings that rubber liner right back to life. And 18 months later, it still has that satin gloss finish, and then it has a little bit of a protectant to it, so all the mud and grease and everything aren't sticking to it quite as bad. And then when I power wash it, I pretty much only have to do this every third time that I actually spray the vehicle off. Not that I overly wash this Hummer anyways. But as you can see, it's held up very well. I've definitely had this thing off into the ditches, and you don't see any scratches like you would branches when you run them down the side of a gloss paint job, a normal automotive paint job. And other than the little bit of peeling, like I said, everything else is held up like a dream. Actually, the metal down here is starting to show a little bit of rust coming through, where obviously the salt and chemicals sit. And that was one thing that I mentioned in the first video, that it's not gonna stop rust. But because this body on this truck, well, this is fiberglass, but because this body on this truck was clean, when we had it sprayed with the Scorpion liner, we're not having any issues with corrosion whatsoever. So would I do it again? Absolutely. The money was well spent. This will be on here for a couple more years, no problem. I'm not seeing any sun fade. I'm not seeing any discoloration. And if I did have to, repair a panel or something like that, I feel like I would still get a pretty close match. Maybe it would take a couple of rub downs with that new rubber just to try to get the gloss, because I think that it's become shinier because I put that new rubber on there. But I'm down with that because it's got a consistent look throughout the vehicle. If you just kind of look at the fender I just did, it's consistently that darker, glossier color versus the rest of the truck. You can see I haven't done yet. So, and then you can see my rusty frame. It's time again because I beat this thing. So super happy with it. If you remember, we did the door jambs and everything. Those are holding up. There's like no wear from the fingerprints and beating on this stuff because it is strong. So super happy. Would definitely do it again. I say bedline all the things. Peace.